Hello everyone and welcome back to a short EP review. In this video I'm going to review USB by Fred Again. Fred Again is an electronic and house producer who has made a couple of albums and some very big singles over the past couple of years. I was familiar with some of his singles that gained massive popularity in such a short period of time. He instantly became a big name in the electronic dance scene, and from what I've heard I could definitely see his appeal. I like the moody atmosphere that exists throughout his works, and also he seems to be pretty imaginative, not always but some of the times, in his use of vocal samples, which is one of the main stakes out of his projects. The main reason I was excited for the release of this EP is due to a song that I really wanted to talk about, and that is Jungle. I was familiar with Jungle with the Rico Nasty remix that we saw being part in her new album, which I found to be a pretty cool song and one of the most imaginative and well-crafted ideas over here. But then I listened to the original and I was absolutely obsessed with it. This became for a period of time a song that I would listen to on repeat over and over again. It is extremely addictive, and I would honestly say that this is one of the greatest electronic songs I've heard in recent years. Like seriously, this one is just incredible. I really love the way he would use those vocal samples, especially with this particular song. They are so imaginative, they sound incredible. The overall idea is spectacular from start to finish. Love the more energetic attitude out of this track. It is by far the most intense track we've seen from Fred Again, in comparison to the more moody and smooth dance portions that we would usually get. This is a change of pace, and one that I actually believe works amazingly with this particular song just being so catchy, so energetic and so creative. The only sort of problem I would say I have with this song is that I wanted much more out of it. Like, I wouldn't be bothered if the final portion, which is by far my favorite one out of the song, like, I wouldn't really mind it if it would go on for like 3 more minutes. Like, this could just go on and on because there is just so much to this track, there's so much creativity, and there were certain parts where I would love to see them having even more runtime to them. With that being said, what we get with this brand new EP of Fred Again is a more upbeat direction with his sound. In comparison to the full-length albums, in this one we get a more energetic approach. There are still the more moody passages and melodies, but it's apparent that we see a change of pace with this particular EP. It probably has to do with the fact that the main appeal about the albums of Fred Again is that it would refer to the period of quarantine, about loneliness, which would make sense for this more melancholic tone out of his songs, but also with a glimmer of hope to them. And now that quarantine is over, COVID is still an issue, but it's certainly not to the extent that it was at the beginning. Things seem to return back to normal, and people just going to clubs and parties, and so it feels sort of more appropriate for Fred Again going into some more upbeat directions. Now, I personally really like this new direction out of Fred Again, especially with this particular EP. It makes me actually wanna see those tracks being part out of a full-length album rather than just an EP, because the new album that is coming out of its way, out of the teaser tracks, it seems that it goes to similar directions with the previous 2 albums and going back into the more sort of chill sounds, which I believe that they work pretty fine. But I believe that what we get with USB is undoubtedly some of the greatest tracks Fred Again has written, and I would hope to see more directions like that in the future. The main issue that I end up having with this EP though is the way it's handled. It has this formula that I see with electronic releases that I always end up disliking. What I mean by that is that we have 6 tracks over here, and 2 of them are remixes. One of them is the Rico Nasty remix on the track Jungle, which we also saw in the Rico Nasty album, so I find it kinda confusing and unnecessary that we also get it in the Fred Again EP. And there is also the high remix on the track Lights Out, which sounds more of like an extended version of the song. There is almost little to no change up on this remix, so it kinda feels unnecessary, and I wasn't really that much into it. And all of the other 4 tracks were actually previously released, and it was also the case with the 2 remixes, so what that means is that we don't even get a deep cut out of this EP. It's simply just a bunch of singles released from this period of time, all cramped up in an EP over here, so this makes it feel just like a collection of songs and nothing else. There's not a consistency, there's not a cohesion over here, even though we get a bit of a different theme with a more energetic approach of this EP. Apart from that, you could have easily just heard all of those teaser tracks beforehand and you would get into this EP and there would be nothing else over here. You just have all of those songs that were previously released just listed differently, and I don't know, I personally find this to be something that I don't really like when it happens to electronic releases. Now when it comes to the main tracks, like I said, Jungle is for me a masterpiece. Then there's the track Turn on the Lights Again, which honestly surprised me because I would never really expect a track that features Future and Swedish House Mafia to sound this good, but this is actually a track that has been a grower on me. I really like the melodies out of this one, I like how it has this more moody aesthetic to it, I like the bass response, I believe that the beat is really cool, I like the way those vocals are being implemented into the mix, so overall I find it to be a pretty imaginative and really well executed song. Not necessarily my favorite in terms of its pacing, I believe that there are some moments that could have been handled a little bit differently, being more into my preference, but still the overall ideas are really cool over here. Then there's the track Admit It You Don't Want To, which for me out of the 4 singles it was definitely the most underwhelming one. I believe that this one just goes on for a while and it doesn't really have its most compelling ideas. I don't really find that the vocal samples and passages are implemented all that greatly over here, and also we get some really lengthy build-ups that don't really feel that they lead to that much of a captivating conclusion. So for me this track was just kinda okay, and then there's the track Lights Out, which for me just starts pretty decent without something that really grabs my attention all that much, but I believe that it strongly picks up towards the second half where it gets more energetic and actually offering some of its coolest ideas. The transition is excellent, but I was just hoping that the first half would manage to just hold up and be at the same level. So like I said, I believe that this EP contains some of the greatest material out of Fred Again. We're talking about possibly my favorite release out of Fred Again over here. But the thing that holds it back for being an even greater release is the fact that it just feels like a collection of songs with 2 unnecessary remixes and being handled in a way that greatly lacks the element of surprise. Still pretty intrigued with the results and I'm looking forward to the brand new album. I'm gonna give USB a 7+ out of 10. What's your opinion on this EP? Like it, dislike it, why? And what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.